Welcome to the Business Book Challenge by the Coaching Network. My name is Maria Medina, and I'm your business and networking coach. This week, we're going to be looking to read Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. In this book, she explores what it means to be a courageous and authentic leader in this day and age. She draws from her extensive research into vulnerability, courage, shame, and empathy, and she emphasizes that these are the best ways to be an effective leader by embracing vulnerability and having tough conversations. So what does that mean? Let's start with why vulnerability is important and it shouldn't be avoided. Often people see vulnerability as a weakness and they avoid sharing things like mistakes, omissions, errors, and they avoid those tough conversations because they don't want to be perceived as a weak leader. But what Brown talks about here is that allowing for that vulnerability and making it core to how you practice leadership actually allows you to get to know your employees, your teammates, your clients, anybody that you are communicating with. You get to know them on a deeper level. By sharing about fears, uncertainties, mistakes, leaders are then able to establish trust not only with their team, but with all the other stakeholders. They're able to create a space where people feel comfortable sharing their own shortcomings, their own mistakes, and their own insecurities, thus allowing leaders to get to know them better. If they're willing to share these parts of their life, whether it's business or personal, that is impacting whatever project that they're working on, a leader is able to better understand where people are coming from. And we've talked about this. You want to make sure that you're listening to the people that you're working with so that you understand what motivates them, how to work better with them, and how to really work cohesively as a team. One way Brené talks about vulnerability is by rumbling with it. And that means having those uncomfortable conversations that maybe you don't want to have. And we see this in other books, like The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, which we'll be going through soon, where sometimes the leader themselves wants to be liked more than what they want to accomplish. And often they don't want to have these difficult conversations with people. They don't want to hold people accountable because they want to make sure that they have a happy environment. But often, if you're misunderstanding people or you're judging them without having those conversations, that's when the team starts to be dysfunctional. So Brené here has a point where if you rumble with vulnerability and you have those uncomfortable, awkward conversations with your team and with other stakeholders, you're then able to engage in a different level and encourage them to share with you in that same level, thus having deeper conversation that you can make better decisions on. The more information you have about something that's going on and they're more open and willing you're able to talk about what's happening, good or bad, the more likely you're able to make better decisions, troubleshoot, and work out the best way forward from where you are now. As leaders embrace vulnerability, it's also very important to start sharing values, whether those are company or personal values. And a leader should be leading by example. They should be looking at the values that the company is trying to follow and embody them. They shouldn't be contradicting the message that they're giving stakeholders and internally to their staff, because then how is the staff supposed to follow by example? The staff won't know what values they're supposed to embody, and that creates some confusion. As well as that, you want to make sure that you're creating a safe space for staff and employees to come to you and share their values, share their motivators, share what is making them tick so that you're able to work again better with them. And it's important to note something that a lot of companies forget as they're growing. Values can change. You have changed as an individual, your business has grown and the business has changed. The people within the business that you've brought in to run it has changed. Maybe so have your customers. It's okay to change your values as you go, but in order to do so, you need to be able to communicate them effectively, emulate them, and be able to communicate with your team as to, is this the way that we want to go forward? Do these values still align with our company, what we're doing and what we're trying to achieve? In order for these conversations to be had, we have to go back to that trust part of the equation. where we're looking at, do people trust us enough to communicate openly with us? We have to be able to share from ourselves to make sure that we're encouraging them to share openly with us. And Brené actually shares a really good acronym, which is Braving Trust. And excuse me while I read this because I wasn't able to remember it, but Braving Trust is boundaries, reliability, accountability, vault, integrity, non-judgment, and generosity. By practicing braving trust and creating boundaries within the equation, then leaders are able to set expectations. They're able to keep people accountable. They're also able to show that trust is there by making themselves available and reliable to their team, as well as keeping that vault. Some conversations that are had with leaders and other team members aren't for everybody's ears. So you want to make sure that you're creating a safe space for people to share their confidences, and that is not going to get to the rest of the team. That trust has to be built through that vault from non-judgment and integrity. And the final part of braving is that generosity. The leader has to be willing to share the successes, to be able to work with the team as a whole, and be able to bring them in when they're trying to have these conversations, so that not only is the leader asking questions, but so are they. Finally, as we're sharing in vulnerability and we're looking at our shortcomings, we're looking at our mistakes, at our errors, what's been happening, what's going good, but what's also going wrong, we want to make sure that we are getting up from our failures. We're looking for those resources, for those solutions, and we're working as a team, and we're showing the team, hey, yes, it's okay that we had this setback. It's okay that this mistake was made. Where do we go from here? And that is why I have brought on today's guest, a very close friend of mine, that she embodies this in her team, and she's able to roll with the punches, share vulnerably, and communicate effectively with her team. Surprisingly, I've only known for 1 year, and we connected straight away, and I've learned so much about her company. We've become very, very close friends. Please introduce yourself, Robin. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Great. And I love that. I can't believe it's only been a year because it feels like a lifetime. So I'm Robin Dimond. I'm the CEO and founder of Fifth Cor. We are a marketing and innovation firm. So we really work with experiencing. That's what fifth represents, the five senses, and core is Latin for heart. So experiencing marketing at its full capabilities, leveraging innovation like augmented reality, artificial intelligence into your marketing cycle. So that's who we are as a company.
And as a company, I've gotten to learn a lot about you and how you work with your team, which is why I wanted you here today. And as I was talking to my listeners, we were talking about how communication and clear communication is very important when you're trying to lead a team, but also showing a little bit of vulnerability and showing yourself authentically with them. So would you mind sharing a little bit about how you communicate with your team and ensure that there's clear communication when things are going right, but most importantly, when things are going wrong?
I love the fact that you said vulnerability because that is one thing I was so scared of. We talk about, looking perfect. And as a leader or, as an owner of a company, you have to make sure that you're being vulnerable and that you're communicating it. When you mess up, and trust me, I have admittedly made so many mistakes. And it's one of those things that you have to tell your team that you made these mistakes, admit right away, hey, that I probably shouldn't have done. This is how we're going to work to resolve it. My team is amazing. We communicate in documents, in Slacks. We do a lot of checkpoints with each other throughout the day. So we start off our day with an entire meeting that everyone knows what that person's doing. Do they have any blockers? So it's okay at that time to be vulnerable and say, hey, these are my blockers. I need help with it. Does anyone else know how to do it? Because why waste time in your day if someone else on the team knows how to do it? And then we talk about your goals, and your goals are personal and professional goals. So how are you tracking with your personal goals? If your personal goal is to drink a gallon of water, then I should be cheering you on throughout the day because that's making you a better whole person. It's going to make you a better employee. So we talk and openly communicate. But then we do everything in pairs. So we hire in the buddy system, which is totally different. It's like a battle buddy. Someone you go into war with is someone here. And so that person is there to communicate and that you can be fully vulnerable in it. And you'll see me if you read back through our Slacks, I'm like, oops, sorry, just learning how to read. Or, hey, I'm so sorry, guys, I missed this. And it's being able to call myself out on the mistakes that we're doing.
I like that. And I like that you have the continuous communication through the meetings, as well as saying, hey, what's stopping you? Is there somebody here that can help you? How do you encourage the communication when somebody new comes into the team and they may feel a little bit intimidating of sharing in the team, or they may not want to share everything right there in front of everybody? We were actually discussing this with another speaker about the 5 dysfunctions of a team. And it's those people that they're quiet mouses at first, but you have to find their comfort zone to get them to be able to share what they actually need and what they need from the team.
One, it's the battle buddy system. So when we train them and we bring them in, they all start together at the same time. So now you have a built-in one that it's both your first days at the same time. You're both first weeks of training. And that's really helped. The second is that you have someone you can go directly to. So your person you might go to is Lexi, or your person might be Kira. So you feel not only can you go to your battle buddy to ask for help or training ones, we can go up a layer to do that. And the next layer really, really bonds our team. But then again, it's that open mistake. I openly, let's say in general, our whole company can may say, I'm sorry, I didn't do this. Or, hey, does anyone know how to turn off do not disturb on my phone? So that's what I did today. I put do not disturb. And so being so vulnerable with my team allows them to know that they can say something, and then calling each other out like, hey, that's amazing. Actually, I'm having that same problem. And when people start seeing that open communication, it works really well.
I think that really helps in establishing those relationships, because if you feel like the person you're reporting to is perfect and then you mess up, you're not going to share that mess up. But if you know, hey, they've done something like this before, or I know that they're not perfect, it's okay, because they're going to help me from a space of no judgment, which I've spoken about before, which is very important. If you're trying to have clear communication with people, it's important that they know that you're not judging them. You're trying to either criticize the productive criticism, or you're trying to actually help them out. They're not going to be told off for making this mistake. It's going to be, hey, this is a learning situation. What are we going to do from them? Let me take it back to what you were saying about their goals and their personal goals and their professional goals. I know that you do something very special for your team when you onboard them. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that with our viewers?
Sure. So there's a couple different things that we do when we're onboarding. One is obviously matching you up with someone, but we also look at your love languages. So that's another one. We look at the love languages and who you should be paired with. And we never pair you with someone with the same love language because we want you to be held accountable. But then we ask you what your personal goals are and your professional. And I think for leaders or owners, gone are the days of people staying for 40 years in the same company. So have them when they come in, know that this is a stopping ground for them and say, hey, what are your personal goals? What are you looking to get out of this? And what are your professional goals? If their personal goal is to be financially successful, then we're going to introduce you to my financial advisor. We want you to be financially successful because the more financially successful you are, the better. If you have a health goal, hey, I want to eat a certain way, I want to make sure I'm exercising, we're going to document that because your personal ones need to match your professional ones. And so we really believe in investing in our people as a whole person. If someone gets sick, my team will tell you either magnesium shows up at their door, vitamin C shows up at their door, Uber Eats does, because it's a day. You want to celebrate your wins. So we document anniversaries, your dog's birthday, every single thing about a person on our team just to get to know them better.
You want to make sure that they know that you're interested in them, because if you are, then they're more likely to be invested in your company. It's essentially what you're saying, right?
100%. And they bring something that we wouldn't know. So we try to find out what's their personal thing. It was so crazy. We actually had somebody who was basically in the wrong role. And as we got to know her, I was like, wait, you're better at partnerships than you are as a creative. Stop trying to be a creative. Let's move you. Let's find a job that works for you. And I think that's the difference about it is if you want something in our company, you can go ahead and do it because you're going to make a role. Backfill your old role and let's make a new role for you. And that's really helped us progress. It's also helped me because I've been scared. And if you ask my team, they're like, we're going to do PR. I'm like, we're going to do what? I don't know anything about PR. And so trusting my team, trusting their skill set, and then having them push me outside of it has really helped as a leader expand my knowledge too.
And that clear communication is there, that they feel comfortable enough to say, hey, we want to try this. We want to try something new. Who had that confidence to say that to their boss and think, oh, she's going to like this. She's going to let us do this. Not many people do that. And I think that speaks to how comfortable they feel in the workplace with having those communications when things go wrong, but also when they have ideas and when there's innovation, which is essentially your company.
But you've also been around me, Maria. Who I am, which is a total dorkfish, is who I am in front of my, like, it, there never changes. That world of being perfect is just not acceptable anymore. So we're going to fail. We're going to fail fast, and we're going to learn. I'm going to trip getting on stage. It's kind of funny because now I remember that I was in Connecticut when I tripped on stage, and that always has something. And I think for our team, whoops, I didn't mean to send out that email as quick, but now they'll never do it again because it's stuck in their brain. And so it's okay to fail, admit that you messed up, but then let's do it again differently the next time.
Let's learn from it. Thank you so much, Robin, for being here today. You are jet setting everywhere, so I'm glad that we found some time to squeeze you in. And if anybody wants to reach out to you, your company, what is the best way to connect with you?
Connect with me on LinkedIn. It's Robin, like the bird, and then Dimond, Dimond. If for some reason I'm traveling to a city near you, hit me up. I say I always owe you coffee or cocktails, so I'd love to meet anybody who would. But let's connect.
And you can also find them on Instagram, which is why I know where they are all the time because they're always sharing, hey, we're here, we're over there. And I'm like, where are they today? They're in different states, different countries, loving it. Thank you so much again. And tune in next week.